Do you know how much an average mechanic charges just to look under the hood? $150 to $200, while over 40% of small car problems can be fixed right at home with just basic tools and YouTube tutorials. But most drivers think these issues need a trip to the workshop. In today's video, we'll fix that by showing you 17 free car tricks that can solve even the most annoying problems. We'll also expose a simple repair hack that most mechanics never mention. Watch till the end, because these tricks will save you from spending $3,000 each year without paying a dime. Trick number 17. Fuel system pulsing. Every now and then, your engine needs a bit of a workout, and not just for fun. There's a little trick I recommend to keep your fuel system clean without spending a dime on additives or cleaners. Here's what you do. Every 3 or 4 months, when your gas tank is close to empty, fill it only halfway. Then take the car for a spirited drive. Nothing crazy, just enough to get the RPMs up and let the engine work a bit harder than usual. What this does is force the fuel system, pump, lines, and injectors to run with more pressure and volume. That helps clear out light deposits that tend to build up over time and cause sluggish performance, rough idling, or poor fuel economy. It's kind of like giving the system a flush using the car's own fuel pressure. No bottles, no chemicals, just smart driving. Just a heads up, don't make a habit of running low on gas too often. That can overwork the fuel pump. But doing this every few months can keep your injectors cleaner, your throttle response sharper, and your fuel mileage more consistent. Simple, free, and surprisingly effective. Next one is what most car enthusiasts debate about. Trick number 16. Skip 7K oil change rule. If there's one thing I never cut corners on, whether it's my car or a customer's, it's oil changes. Oil is your engine's first line of defense. It keeps everything inside moving smoothly and protects those metal parts from grinding themselves to death. Inside your engine, parts are spinning at thousands of RPM. Without clean oil, they overheat, wear out, and eventually fail. Oil reduces friction, absorbs heat, and picks up all the little particles, dirt, carbon, even tiny metal shavings that would otherwise clog things up. But here's the catch. Oil doesn't last forever. Over time, it gets thick, dirty, and loses its ability to protect. That's when you start risking serious engine damage. I've seen engines seize up just from people pushing 12,000 miles on one oil change. So here's my rule of thumb. For most cars, every 5,000 miles is safe. Some newer models can stretch it a bit, but always check your owner's manual. And don't cheap out on oil or filters. Use the right type and quality every time. An oil change is one of the cheapest services you can do, and one of the most important. Keep up with it, and your engine will easily outlast your expectations. Skip it, and you're gambling with thousands. Trick number 15. Don't kill your engine hot. One habit that goes unnoticed but causes real damage over time? Shutting the engine off the second you park. Especially if your car has a turbocharger, that move could cost you thousands. Here's the deal. Turbochargers can hit temps over 1,000 degrees. When you turn the engine off right after driving, oil flow stops instantly. That hot turbo is still cooking, and now the oil sitting inside it starts to burn. This leaves behind carbon deposits, a problem called coking. It clogs oil passages and eventually chokes the turbo to death. I've seen cars need $3,000 turbo replacements just because someone didn't wait 30 seconds. The fix? Simple. Let the engine idle for 30 seconds to a minute before shutting it off. That gives the oil a chance to circulate and cool things down properly. It also allows the radiator fan to keep coolant moving, so you don't shock the system with a sudden shutdown. Some modern cars have turbo timers or electric cooling fans that handle this for you. If yours does, great. If not, just build the habit of a short idle at the end of every drive. That tiny pause can make a huge difference in turbo life and overall engine health. Trick number 14, avoid hard acceleration. Just because your car can go fast doesn't mean it should all the time. Hard acceleration might feel fun in the moment, but it's rough on your engine and your wallet. When you slam the gas pedal, your engine has to work overtime. More fuel gets dumped in, the pistons move faster, and internal parts take on way more stress than they were designed for on a daily basis. Do it often enough, and you're speeding up wear on everything under the hood. Here's something most drivers don't realize. Going from 55 to 60 mph doesn't just add 5 mph, it adds about 73% more horsepower demand. At 70 mph, that jumps to nearly 160%. That's a massive jump in effort for your engine, just to gain a little speed. Now, I get it, you're not going to drive 55 on every road, but keeping your speed as low as safely possible and accelerating smoothly instead of stomping on the gas goes a long way toward protecting your engine. It's not about being slow, it's about being smart. Your engine will last longer, your fuel economy will improve, and you'll avoid a lot of unnecessary repairs down the line. If you're enjoying these tricks, hit that subscribe button now. Trick number 13, inspect the engine timing belt. You know what part people always forget about until it's too late? The timing belt. It's out of sight, doesn't make much noise, and there's no warning light for it. But when it fails, the damage isn't just inconvenient, it's massive. The timing belt keeps your engine's pistons and valves moving in perfect sync. If it snaps while the engine's running, those pistons can crash right into the valves. And that kind of impact? It can destroy your engine in seconds. I've seen engines completely totaled from a broken belt, repairs running anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000. What makes it worse is that timing belts usually don't give much warning. You might hear a faint ticking or see an oil leak near the belt cover, but most of the time, they just break out of nowhere. That's why I always tell drivers, replace the timing belt on schedule. Most cars need one every 60,000 to 100,000 miles, or every 7 to 10 years. Even if you don't drive much, time and heat break it down. Replacing it early isn't cheap, but it's way cheaper than rebuilding an engine. It's one of those jobs you want to stay ahead of, because waiting could cost you everything under the hood. Trick number 12, don't delay spark plug changes. One of the most overlooked parts of engine maintenance? Spark plugs and wires. They're small, cheap, and out of sight, but they play a huge role in how your engine runs. Without a strong spark, combustion doesn't happen the way it should. And when that breaks down, so does your performance. Worn-out spark plugs can make your car hard to start. You might notice rough idling, reduced power, or even worse, gas mileage. Over time, the engine has to work harder just to do basic things, and that adds stress you don't want. For most modern cars, especially those with iridium plugs, you're looking at a change interval of around 100,000 to 120,000 miles. But always check your owner's manual for your exact schedule. When checking plugs, a healthy one will have a light tan or brown tip. If it's black, cracked, melted, or coated in deposits, it's time to replace it. And don't forget the wires. If they look brittle or cracked, swap them out too. Most people have a mechanic handle this, but if you're comfortable with tools, it's a doable DIY job. Now moving on to trick number 11, check for dead engine mounts. You know, one noise that gets brushed off way too often is that low thump when shifting into gear. I've had customers think it's a loose exhaust or a worn bushing. Heck, I once ignored it myself. Turned out it was a broken engine mount. By the time I caught it, the engine was jerking hard enough to almost crack the exhaust manifold. Here's the thing, mounts don't usually fail with a bang. They fail quietly. You might notice a vibration at idle, a clunk when shifting, or a weird lurch when you accelerate. Those are red flags. When a mount goes bad, it doesn't just affect comfort. It starts stressing everything around it. Axles, brackets, transmission mounts. Over time, those little shifts turn into expensive problems. Want to check it yourself? Do the Mount Death test. Foot on the brake, shift into drive, and rev to about 2,000 RPM. If the engine jumps more than an inch, that mount's done. Time to replace it. Stick with good brands. Anchor for OEM-style replacements, DEA or Westar for daily drivers, or Torque Solution if you're modded and want something tough. Trick number 10. Check fluids before the engine blows up. Hey, wait, do you think engine oil is the only fluid in your car? No matter what you drive, check your fluids every couple of weeks. It takes 5 minutes, and it can prevent some of the most expensive repairs you'll ever face. Start with the engine oil. With the car parked on level ground, pop the hood, pull out the dipstick, wipe it clean, dip it again, and check the level. It should be between the min and max marks. If the oil looks light brown or amber, you're good. If it's dark and gritty, time for a change. Driving a diesel? Don't panic if the oil looks black. That's normal due to soot. Next, look at your coolant reservoir. The level should also sit between the markings. If it's low, top it off with a proper 50-50 mix of antifreeze and distilled water. Never tap water. Don't forget the windshield washer fluid. Use a proper screen wash, not dish soap. I've seen people wreck their paint using the wrong stuff. You'd be surprised how many cars roll into the shop with barely any oil or coolant left. Engines need these fluids to survive. Run low, and you're one overheat or oil-starved moment away from a huge repair bill. Quick checks like these keep your car running smooth and out of trouble. Trick number 9. Keep your filters fresh. One of the easiest things you can do to keep your car running strong is to stay on top of your filters. I'm talking about the oil filter and the engine air filter, two small parts that do a whole lot more than most people think. The oil filter keeps your motor oil clean as it circulates through the engine. The air filter stops dust, dirt, and debris from entering the engine's intake. When either one gets clogged, your engine has to work harder, runs less efficiently, and wears out faster. In my shop, I recommend changing the oil filter every time you change your oil, usually around every 5,000 miles, depending on your car. As for the air filter, once a year is a safe bet, but if you drive in dusty areas or on gravel roads, check it more often. Good quality filters don't cost much, and they make a big difference in performance and engine life. Skip the bargain bin ones. Cheap filters can collapse or let junk through, and that's when real damage starts. Some air filters are washable and reusable. Just check your owner's manual. Clean filters keep your engine breathing easy, running smooth, and burning less fuel. Wait till the end, because the last tip will stretch your battery's lifespan to 10 years. Moving on. Trick number 8. Don't downshift to slow. I hear this one a lot. I downshift to slow down, saves my brakes. Sounds smart, right? In reality, it's doing more harm than good. Your transmission and clutch aren't built to handle constant braking forces, especially not at high speeds. When you downshift to reduce speed, especially quickly or at high RPMs, you're putting a lot of stress on the clutch, transmission gears, and drivetrain. That wear adds up fast. I've seen drivers wear out clutch discs and even damage gear synchros just by engine braking too often. And here's the thing, modern brakes are incredibly efficient. They're designed to handle repeated use, and replacing brake pads or rotors is a whole lot cheaper than rebuilding a transmission or replacing a clutch. So here's what I recommend. Use your brakes to slow down. Keep the downshifting smooth and minimal, and save your gearbox for what it was meant to do, driving, not braking. A set of brake pads might cost you $100. A transmission job? That's a few grand. Changing this one habit can save you serious money and keep your drivetrain in good shape for years to come. Trick number 7. Never ignore warning lights. One of the most common things I hear from drivers is, Yeah, that light's been on for a while, but the car still runs fine. And I get it. If it's not flashing or making noise, it doesn't feel urgent. But here's the thing, those warning lights aren't suggestions. They're early alerts that something's off. A lot of the time, it's something simple. A loose gas cap can trigger a check engine light. Easy fix. But ignore it, and you might miss something serious, like a failing catalytic converter, misfire, or even a transmission issue. Same goes for brake or power steering warnings. Those aren't things you want to gamble with. I've seen drivers lose braking power or have their steering lock up just because they waited too long to get it checked. The key is not to panic, but don't delay either. A quick scan at a shop can tell you exactly what's going on. Sometimes it's nothing, but sometimes it's something that could save you from a breakdown, or worse. So if a light pops up on your dash, don't cover it with tape. Get it checked. Fixing small issues early keeps you safe, saves you money, and keeps your car running the way it should. Trick number 6, avoid riding the clutch. I can't tell you how many perfectly good clutches I've seen worn out early just because of small habits people don't think twice about. The kind of stuff you do without even noticing, like where your foot rests or what you do with your hand after shifting. One big one, riding the clutch. Even if you're not pressing it all the way down, keeping your foot on the pedal applies light pressure, and that's enough to keep the clutch slightly engaged. Over time, that constant friction wears out the release bearing and pressure plate. That means a premature clutch job, and those don't come cheap. Another habit? Resting your hand on the gear shifter. It seems harmless, but it puts steady pressure on the selector fork inside the transmission. That adds up fast and can lead to serious damage. The fix is simple. After you shift, get both hands back on the wheel, and keep your left foot off the clutch unless you're using it. Rest it flat on the floor. These are tiny changes, but they make a huge difference. Break the habit now, and you'll save your clutch, protect your transmission, and avoid repairs that can easily run into the thousands. Trick number 5, keep your MAF sensor clean. I've had cars come into the shop running rough, stalling, guzzling gas, and it all traced back to one simple thing: a dirty mass airflow sensor. Most folks don't even think about it, but this little sensor plays a huge role in how your engine runs. The MAF sensor sits just after the air filter and measures how much air is entering the engine. The computer uses that info to calculate how much fuel to inject. But over time, fine dust and oil from the filter can coat the sensor's tiny wires, and that throws everything off. You'll start noticing symptoms like rough idling, hesitation when accelerating, poor fuel mileage, or even a check engine light with codes like P0100 through P0104. But here's the good news. You don't have to replace it right away. Try cleaning it first. Unplug the sensor near the airbox, remove it carefully, and spray it down using a dedicated MAF sensor cleaner, not brake cleaner or WD-40. Let it air dry completely before reinstalling. If you've got an OBD2 scanner, you can even compare airflow readings before and after. A 5-minute cleaning job like this can save you a few $100. Trick number 4, keep your car covered. One thing people don't think about enough is where they park their car. I'm not talking about the mall or the grocery store. I mean where it sits every day. You'd be amazed how many cars sit outside while the garage is filled with holiday decorations and lawn chairs. If you've got a garage, use it. Parking inside protects your car from sun damage, rain, snow, bird droppings, falling branches, you name it. It also helps prevent rust and keeps the paint from fading. And bonus, it's safer. A car in a locked garage is much less likely to be broken into or vandalized. Some insurance companies even offer discounts if your car is garaged. Now, if you don't have a garage, no worries. A good outdoor rated car cover does the job too. Just make sure it fits right and isn't the kind that flaps around in the wind. It may not seem like a big deal, but over the years, that protection really adds up. Less rust, fewer scratches, fewer paint issues, and less money spent on repairs. Trick number 3. Service transmission before it slips. You know, one thing I see a lot in the shop is people forgetting about their transmission fluid. And I get it. It's not something you check as often as engine oil, but that's also why it gets overlooked until the damage is already done. When a transmission starts slipping or shifting rough, the truth is, it's usually too late to fix anything. At that point, you're not topping up or doing a quick service, you're replacing the whole thing. And that's not cheap. You're looking at $3,000 or more, depending on the car. The tricky part is, transmission fluid can still look clean on the dipstick. Bright red, no weird smell, but after about 60,000 miles, it starts collecting metal shavings, clutch dust, and other contaminants. It's basically turning into liquid sandpaper, slowly wearing down your gears. That's why I always recommend changing your transmission fluid every 60,000 miles or every 6 years, whichever comes first. If you're driving a hybrid, you might be okay waiting until around 90,000 miles, but I wouldn't go much further than that. And here's something important. If your transmission hasn't been serviced in years, don't flush it. A full flush can actually stir up all the gunk inside and make things worse. In that case, a simple drain and fill is much safer. Also, don't cheap out on the fluid. Use the exact type your car calls for. Generic or wrong fluid might save you a few bucks today, but it could cost you a transmission down the road. So yeah, your engine might still run if the transmission fails, but your car won't be going anywhere. Trick number 2. Don't ignore the PCV valve. Most drivers don't think twice about the PCV valve until the engine starts running rough or burning more oil than usual. But this tiny part plays a big role in keeping your engine healthy. The PCV, positive crankcase ventilation valve, helps your engine breathe by relieving internal pressure and sending harmful gases back through the intake to be burned off. Think of it as your engine's way of exhaling. When it gets clogged, that pressure builds up, and that's when things go downhill fast. Symptoms like rough idling, loss of power, and increased oil consumption can all trace back to a stuck or dirty PCV valve. Worst case scenario, engine sludge starts forming, and once that happens, you're on the hook for some serious cleanup, sometimes well over $250 in repairs. The fix is easy. Pull the valve, give it a shake. If it rattles, you're good. If it doesn't, it's time for a replacement. Most PCV valves are cheap and take minutes to swap out. I recommend checking it every 10,000 to 15,000 miles. It's simple, affordable, and one of the best ways to keep your engine running smooth for the long haul. Here comes the holy grail, which upkeeps nearly everything in your car. Trick number 1. Keep your battery terminals clean. If your car takes a little too long to crank or struggles on cold mornings, the first thing I'd check is the battery. That 12-volt battery powers everything from your starter to your lights, and when it gets weak, everything starts to act up. Checking it is simple if you've got a multimeter. Just touch the red lead to the positive terminal, black to the negative. If it reads below 12.4 volts while the car's off, it's probably time to charge it or think about replacing it. But voltage isn't the only thing. Take a good look at the battery itself. If you see white crust around the terminals or oily buildup, clean it off. Corrosion like that can interrupt power flow or slowly drain the battery. Use a microfiber cloth and a bit of water to wipe things down. For the crusty stuff, a battery terminal brush or dedicated cleaner works best. Always wear gloves. Most car batteries last about 3 to 5 years, though I've seen some pushed to 10 with good maintenance. Replacements can cost a few $100, so it's worth checking every few months. It's a small part, but when it fails, you're not going anywhere. A little upkeep goes a long way. Hey, thanks for watching. If you found these car tricks helpful, let us know in the comments. Want to check out next video? Click on the left.